Good morning, students. Today I will teach you the essay entitled Bores by E.V. Lucas. E.V. Lucas was, before beginning the essay, I will introduce you to the writer of the essay, Edward Verrill Lucas. A British essayist, novelist, and writer of light verse, was born of Quaker family. From 1889 to 1892, he worked as a reporter for the Sussex Daily News. He was later associated with Punch and with the House of Matthew, publisher, as its chairman. He was a prolific and versatile writer. Apart from an authoritative study of Charles Lamb, he produced about a dozen novels, more than 30 collections of essays, sundry works on travel, topography, and arts, 2 books of reminiscence, and a play. He called his novels entertainments and wrote in a kind of style relying largely upon discursive conversation but little upon plot. He was a keen observer of man and matters and shared his pleasure amiably with his readers. His Wanderer series, beginning with Holland and covering London, Paris, Florence, Venice, and Rome, became a great success. He was neither a profound nor a scholarly writer, but his work is characterized by a clarity and good taste. He is the prime mover in the revival of the light-hearted essays blending humor and sentiment, which was very popular in the early decades of the 20th century. And Bores is one of the fine examples of his style. He is a reformer, and he wrote this essay with a reformist purpose, and he says that he stresses upon the point that Bores thrives on the kindness of human nature. Even notorious bores can be sure of a tolerant, if not exactly sympathetic, audience. It means he wants to convey the idea that bores always finds listeners for them in the society. Now I begin with the essay. It requires a sense of superiority, assurance, and self-confidence to write about bores at all, except as one of them. But since your true bore is always unconscious of his borishness, and indeed usually thinks of himself as the most companionable of men, to write as one of them is to acquit oneself of the stigma. Stigma means the mark of shame. In these lines, he just want to convey the idea that if someone purposes to write about the bores, he should either have a feeling that he is superior to bores or be a bore himself. Only a man who is assured of his superiority or have self-confidence can write about bores, or he himself should be a bore. A true bore never regards himself as a bore. He is unaware that he suffers from this defect of borishness. A true bore thinks that he is sociable and companionable person, and that everyone likes his company, but it is not true. A person who writes about bores, he does not know that he is a bore. On the other hand, he thinks that his talks are interesting, and thus he frees himself of the blot of causing boredom to others. Nonetheless, at the same time, I fear everybody is a bore, because everybody now and again has a fixed idea to impart, and the fixed idea of the few are the boredom of the many. Author wants to say that we all have a bore in ourselves. Everyone is boring in some sense, because we always have idea to convey, and sometimes the same idea bores the people. Also, even the least self-centered of man can now and then have a personal experience sufficiently as to lose its true proportions and force him to inflict it overmuch on others. Sometimes, in these lines, he says that sometimes a man who is much self-centered makes people boring because he always thinks about himself and his ideas. But bores, as a rule, are bores always, for egotism is beyond question the bore's foundation stone. He says that egotism is the foundation stone of the borishness. His belief being that what interests him and involves himself as a central figure must interest you. A person who thinks about himself always, an egoistic person always thinks that whatever interests him can interest everyone, and everyone must have pleasure in his talks. Since he lives all the time, and all the time something is happening in which he is the central figure, he has always something new to discourse upon. Again, the same thing, that these kinds of person thinks that everything is happening around themselves only, and they consider themselves the central figure of every action. Himself, his house, his garden, himself, his wife, his children, himself, his car, his handicap, himself, his health, his ancestry, himself. The strange way in which, without inviting them to, all kinds of people confide in him and ask his advice, his humorous way with vectors, his immunity from influenza, his travel, the instinct which always leads him to the best restaurants, his clothes, his dentist, his freedom from shibboleths, he being one of those men who look upon the open air as the best church, his possible ignorance of the arts, but certitude as to what he himself likes, his triumphs over the income tax people. These are the happy men, this world's axle trees. The whole paragraph, this whole paragraph conveys the same idea that a boorish person thinks that he is the most important person, and every action is revolving around himself only, and he always keeps thinking and talking about himself, and what he talks, the trivial things of his life, like his children, his wife, his garden, his pet, his ancestry, his clothes, his dentist, his likes and his dislikes, and he thinks that these things interest other men also. I have been referring to bores exclusively as men. Whether that is quite just, I am not sure, but I shall leave it there. So he thinks, E.V. Lucas says that I'm not sure. He says that he's not sure that bores are men's at all, but still he thinks this question to us at this point, and in unit 2 he will discuss about the traits of bores. And now I end this unit 1 of the essay, and in the next video I will explain you the next units of the essay. Thank you.